Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I'm Dave.
I'm Ron.
And it's a nice rainy week here in the Northeast again.
Let it go, Dave. Just let it go. Are you ready for Elsa to leave?
I guess so. My whole street is flooded. I can't walk the dog because we don't have a raft.
Well, think of it this way. It's rather it to be flooded than frozen.
Yeah, well, I guess too much of anything is not a good thing, but yeah, at least it's not cold.
Those two puns just went right over your head, didn't it?
It did.
So to explain it to all of you named Skip,
Please do.
Elsa from the Disney movie Frozen, and the theme song was Let It Go.
Dude, you're talking to somebody who doesn't have kids. I don't watch that stuff.
Like I do?
I've never heard of it. I mean, I don't know what you do in your spare time, but but anyway.
It's episode 96, or better known as the Aunt Becky's Prison Number episode.
I guess so. Episode 96 here of Digital to Dice. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about what's going to be uncharted waters. I think we're going to talk about today. What happens when you play a game, a sport game, that you're just not that familiar with the sport?
Casual fan.
Yeah, so I mean, we all know we all have our favorite sports. We know ins and outs of, but what happens if you try a new game? You want to try a new game out, and you just don't know the sport. Not so much the game you're playing, but the sport that you're playing, because that goes a long way into how you enjoy a game and how correctly you can play it. Because you don't have to learn the game and the sport. You already know the sport. You just have to learn the game. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Right after what we're playing. What do you think?
Sure.
Nothing?
You got the joke in the show title.
I guess we did, folks, and this is episode 96, so I hope you're enjoying it.
Aunt Becky's Prison Number. We haven't done an Aunt Becky joke in weeks.
It's been a long time since you got out of jail.
She got married. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Where's my thing? There we go.
Off like a herd of thundering turtles.
Yes, we are. Thundering Turtles. That's going to be the name of my new team when I play fictional, the Thundering Turtles.
The Thundering Turtles. There you go.
So anyways, we kick off the show here. Hey, ways to get a hold of us. Yeah, we forgot to do that. Boy, we are just out of sync today. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know. I just don't know. We're just out of sync today.
We are destined for a PBS Friday night special at this rate.
Yeah, so far this is shaping up.
If you want to watch the Yardbirds, wait. When did they start wearing toupees? I don't want to hear them singing at 90, thank you. Anyway, how did we get a hold of it?
Digitaltodice.com is the website. That's where we park all the shows over on Spreaker. 978-751-DICE. 978-751-3423 is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is our email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice is where we have our discussions on the show and all kinds of other things happening over there on Facebook. And I think that's a bird right there you hear.
I hear that.
It is. I have my window open here to try to get some air downstairs in Studio B. And we have all kinds of birds and stuff to hang right here. It's right on the ground, too, because I'm in the basement. But they sometimes will land right there, and they'll get real noisy. So
sounds like I'm watching golf.
Yeah, and a lot of times when I'm streaming at night, you'll hear airplanes because I'm right by an airport. And other times you'll hear thunder. So, yeah, so I get free ambiance here on the show. I don't got to pay any royalties.
We get F-35s and an ambulance, isn't it? You know what? This is our second anniversary show.
Is this when we started? Back in July 2 years ago?
Today's date is what?
July 9.
So next week would be our second anniversary show.
Oh, so we got the anniversary show. We're coming up on 100 episodes. So yeah, we're picking off some numbers here, I guess. What we do. Wow, yeah. So anyway, that's all the ways to get a hold of us. Oh, and if you'd like to get some cool Digital to Dice gear, we do have a Cafe Press store over at cafepress.com/digital to dice, and you can find a mouse pad or a coffee cup or anything like that, a T-shirt, just to support the show.
There you go.
Yep. I got to add some more things. I got to go on there. I got Christmas stuff on there. I need to take that off.
What? You don't think you want a Christmas tree angel?
You might, but it's just not in July. But you never know. You never know. So what are we playing here? Well, I guess the big thing that what we've been playing is You, myself, and Al, Red Sox fan, we've all been playing a combined product, the 77-78 NHL playoffs. We've been using a variety of games. We've used 7 different games.
Have we really?
We've used 7 different games, or at least I have, and I know that you've done some in a couple. And Al's using Action PC. Yep. So yeah, it's
the only one that Al has, right?
I think so. He might have the Strat. I'm not sure though, but he's going to be the Action PC guy. So, but boy, the series have been great. I don't think we've had any sweeps except in the first round, which is the best of 3. Everything's gone at least 5. So look, we've had a couple game 6s and game 7s.
I don't even think we've had anything more than a 3-goal spread.
No, the games have been close. I think I did my game 1, Boston and the Islanders, which is round 3 now, was 5-2, and I think that was my biggest margin of victory.
Yeah, I had game 1 of the Islanders Blackhawks, which I've used Strat, I believe was 4-1. I think that was my biggest spread. In fact, I think 3-1 was the final score of 3 of those 6 games.
I think when I played Franchise Hockey Manager 7, it might have been 6-2 Flyers or something like that. But that was the only one, and that was the only game I played at Franchise Hockey there. But anyway, so we've been collaborating on a 77-78 NHL playoff product. We're in round 3. And we're down to the final 4 teams. It's the Canadians taking on the Flyers and the Bruins taking on the Islanders. And I think Al's going to be doing some of the Bruins games. You're going to be doing some of the Canadian games. And I'm going to be bopping back and forth between the 2 series. And then we'll figure out how we'll handle the Stanley Cup finals and that. So that's one thing I've been working on. I picked up a couple of new games this week. I picked up Inside the Cup Golf PC.
Inside Sports presentation.
By Inside Sports, yep. I like their hockey game, Inside the Crease. I play that quite a bit. And, boy, I've been talking to some people on the Delphi forums about that. And I really like that game. And one guy come up and said, boy, if you could sim games, I would play that a lot more because you have to play out every game. The stat package for this game
is
phenomenal.
Fantastic.
I mean, you get every stat you can possibly think of, or at least that I would use. I don't know if it keeps track of block shots and stuff. It might, I don't know, but I mean, as far as your stat package, it is very comprehensive. I really like the stat package in that game. But again, it's a cards and dice port, and it's designed to be that, and it does a great job as a cards and dice port. But if you want to play one team and then have the game sim the rest, it doesn't do that. And so there's a few of us that have been kind of like nudging on the Delphi forum saying, hey, can you get this to happen? Because this would be a much better game if you could do it that way.
I think that the AI wouldn't be too difficult to do because you're really not making any decisions in the game. You're checking math to see what happens.
That's what it is. So if you could just have the computer flip the cards and have it all play out, I mean, much like the replay baseball, replay basketball, replay PC baseball and PC basketball, whereas you can just have it sim the games and you play whatever you want to do. And most games do that. Even Strat Hockey does that, for crying out loud, where you can just say, look, play these games and I'll play this one manually. And but boy, if it did that would probably be my go-to PC hockey game if I could just pick and choose. I like how it's casual and I can sit back and just watch it play out. And what's really great about it is that you can click anywhere on the board. So if you want to implement house rules, or if something happens, we talked about when things don't make sense. If you got a late penalty or like back-to-back penalties, if something just goes awry, and sometimes in PC games there's not much you can do about it. This you can.
Yeah, like today, for instance, I had 3 batters hit by pitches in a row, which led to a fight, a pitcher injury, and one more away from having a game called. But since it's a computer game, you can't go back and change any of that. So absolutely.
Yeah, so it is nice to know that, you can, pretty much, do what you want to do in this game. I'm not saying cheat by any means, but I'm just saying, there's things that I do, for both teams, because I'm playing both teams. Actually, you're not really playing either team. You're just kind of watching it play. And
everyone's got a fat finger. or you get a text message and you click on something, you get distracted, or the cat wants to bite you, or whatever. And so, absolutely.
Yep, it does have an undo button, so you can undo and go fix what you did. So it's a very, very fun game, Inside the Crease. So getting back to Inside the Cup, which is their golf game, that's the same thing. Although there's a couple of times where, depending on if you're taking a shot at the green, if you hit the green, you can't control where it is. So in other words, it kind of lights up and says, okay, you clicked on the green, here's the result, and so this is how far you are away from the hole. So I almost thought you could roll your own dice in that game, but you kind of can't, because at some point you will click and it'll light up and just make the decision for you. But all in all, it's a fun game. You roll the dice and you see where you are on the course, and it's pretty much spelled out. It comes with the actual cards and dice instructions, which are very handy as far as playing the PC game. And I like to follow along. I like to roll the dice and then see if I can figure out where the ball went, and then click on it and then see if the game says, "Yep, you're right." So it's kind of fun doing that. Very casual. It does keep some stats. It's kind of clunky if you want to do a tournament. But you can do a tournament if you like. Usually I just take a couple of golfers and play 18 holes or whatever. None of my golf games, even Action PC Golf that I've had for a couple of years, do I really get into any long-distance tournaments or anything like that. Golf's take a couple of guys and play 18 holes. That's what I like to do with golf.
And that was actually one of the reasons why I thought of this topic was, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But, what do you do if you're not a huge fan of the sport you want to play?
Yep, exactly. So Inside the Cup, I've been playing that all the different hockey games for that series there. And I also picked up on the Strat sale, the flash sale. I picked up Strat PC Football, and I wanted to give that a try. And I know they got all the new ones coming out, but for $22, I was like, I'll try it. So I got it, and I got the 81 season. And
hold on, now every Tuesday between now and the end of August, they're going to have a 24-hour sale on some item at Strat.com. And this particular week, it was the football, basketball, and the hockey Windows games.
All half price, yeah.
Right.
So for $22, I got that, and I picked up one season. And I've started playing a game there. It's fine. I mean, for $22 to try it out to see if I like it, it's fine. I'll probably play it a little bit, and who knows, maybe I'll turn out to really like it. Right now, I think it's just okay. It's clunky. I almost couldn't figure out how to start a game. I was like, wow,
Yeah, you would say
where the buttons are in this game to launch a game are really weird. It does it very different than the hockey game. The Strat hockey game, and it does it very different than any other game. But I did finally figure out how to start a game. As stupid as that sounds, I'm not a stranger to any of these games. So just how they do it was really, really weird. It kept wanting me to launch into some online lobby or something. And I'm like, I don't want to go into a lobby. I just want to play the darn game here on the computer.
Right.
And so I had to go into the directions to figure out what button to hit to make that happen, because it wasn't spelled out. As far as it kept wanting to launch a lobby and send off find somebody to play. It's like, no, I don't want to play anybody, So playing some Strat football, I only played that for a little bit. It's fine. It's fine. But I need more time with it to really evaluate it, Yep. But it would be fun to do a project like I'm doing with hockey, but only with football, so I could use the Strat PC Football, the Action PC, the Pro Strategy Football I have as well.
On Labor Day for the start of the new season.
I could use the cards and dice. I could use Solitaire Pro Football and even Game-Winning Drive. So there's 5...
And second and 10.
And second and 10, yeah. So there's 6 different football games I got that I'm pretty sure I have the 81 season and everything. So I could probably do some kind of a project with that as well. And I just have to figure out, how I would keep all the stats. Probably just using the football helper, I would imagine. Just put in the scores or whatever. But
he's a good guy too. So
yeah. So that's what I've been playing there. A couple of new games on the horizon, plus all my old hockey games there. And,
I watched. I'm sorry.
I think that's about it. Off the top of my head, I don't.
Yeah, the project is pretty much what you've been doing.
Yeah, I've been trying to plow through that so I can get through that. And I've been playing the. Also, the Stanley Cup Finals, I've been kind of playing along with that And
I
now
like yours a lot better than
I'm behind now because I've been using Shootout Hockey for that. And I was trying to play it like every day, and then I got behind. I had a crazy week. As you can tell, I'm off kilter today. My week has kind of been really weird. But I did play that. And in my series, I played 4 games. 3 of them have gone to overtime. And Montreal leads the series 3-1, going back to Tampa for Game 5.
Curious if it ends in 5 because that's what happened in real life.
But Montreal would take it in 5 in my replay. So
yes.
So I'm gonna I'll probably bang that out either tonight or tomorrow morning. I'll get on and I'll play games 5, 6, and 7 if necessary, and wrap up that project there. But when I played Shootout EZ, Lightning won that in 5.
That's about what I expected to start the series.
But with Shootout Full, when I play Shootout Full, the full game is Shootout, which, again, it's a 15, 20-minute game. Montreal has taken them. 2 have gone to double overtime, by the way.
Just goes on to say that anything can happen in a best-of-7 series.
Mm-hmm. So,
what was I going to say? I've done a couple World Series pre-plays.
Okay.
That turn into what-ifs. Because both of the times I did it, the opposite team won the real life or won the fake World Series, and they never did it in the amount of games that it happened. So it does go from a pre-play to a what if in a hurry.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
Happens, and that was fun. It was a good way to get used to the teams, and I still do that with the Super Bowl. I forget what we did, but it's always fun to do that with a sport.
Mm-hmm.
So first and foremost, Retro Sports Network hit 1,000 subs on YouTube.
All right.
And yeah, big deal. And in fact, I got my notice today from YouTube to apply for monetization, so I can now add to that, 6-piece chicken nugget for what I would earn for.
Oh yeah, 6-piece chicken. Every 6 months, you could get a 6-piece chicken McNugget.
Pretty much, because YouTube don't pay all that.
Oh my gosh, no! A couple of years ago, they used to. In fact, I launched a video game channel because I was going to try to, make some money part time doing that, and they changed all the rules.
Oh yeah,
and it just was
subs to do it.
It's like YouTube now gets this and you get this, and it's just it wasn't people just like saying forget it at that point.
There's a reason why I do the live stuff on Twitch.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, thank you to all of you who have subbed and who have the 772 followers we have on Facebook on Digital Dice. You guys have made this all possible, and whether or not I get a lot of money from YouTube is irrelevant. The fact that I can get money now from YouTube is a pretty big, hairy deal, especially doing what we do. If we were doing body painting or flight sims or any of the console games, you and me and Al and the others would be up close to 10,000 subs by now, because we'd be doing something that had a lot better visuals. But because we enjoy this type of gaming, it's not necessarily in the mainstream. So 1,000, although it doesn't sound like a lot,
I think for our hobby it is. Yeah.
I think that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. I did not take advantage of the Strat football sale because I have 18 gazillion football games anyway. I bought, as Dave does not have the headphones on, yeah, he does, home court games. And I got this wrong, by the way. There was someone on our Facebook group that had bought a bowling game. Turns out he bought Bolorama from Play.com.
Oh, okay. And
so I mistook that. I thought he bought the Pro Bowling game from Home Court Games. So that's the one I bought. PDFs are half price. And so I got the 170 greatest Pro Bowlers of all time, including some from the 19 teens and 20s.
Wow.
Back when the American Bowling Congress ran the show. Pre-PBA tour. I mean, Chris Schenkel and Bo Burton weren't covering those things. Those were the days where they would take a place and you would do 100-game marathons.
Oh.
Can you imagine that?
No.
How sore your arm would be after 3 days of that?
Oh, jeepers, yeah.
Total pin wins, too. I mean, anyway, so I'm doing some playing around with that, and that's been awful fun. We'll be doing some stuff for the channel for that, but it's 3D6, and he's got charts, and so if you want a quick play qualifying, you can do that in a roll and establish some. It's really handy, so I'm glad I bought that. Home Court Games. I believe is where I got that, and that's all through PayPal, and just let them know that you bought the game. It also has a F1 game, a tennis game, and a decathlon game.
Oh, wow.
Which I did not buy, but the decathlon game, I believe, is kind of like an all-star. So Bruce Jenner and Rafer Johnson and Dan and Dave and all that. So that and the 49 baseball replay has really hit its climax. The Yankees are champions of the American League
with 35 games to play.
They have a 14-game lead with 8 games to go, so they cannot be caught. The National League is a 2-horse. There's only 2 teams now that can win the National League. It's the Dodgers and the Cardinals, and the Dodgers have a 2.5-game lead. They have played every game against St. Louis. St. Louis has 7 left. Brooklyn has 6 left. I had a game today where we had a fight between Duke Snyder, who is considered to be one of the nicest people in baseball, against the Cardinal starter, Red Bunger.
The Duke actually threw out his own son in the father-son game.
That's right. That's pretty much there. And then the next pitcher came in, hit Jackie Robinson, and was injured. And then I had to bring in the third pitcher for the third different batter, and he pitched like crap. So the Dodgers, with 6 games to go, lead by 2.5. So the World Series is coming up pretty gosh darn quick between somebody and the Yankees.
Somebody
and the Yankees won. And we'll be doing 1,000 sub special Sunday night on my Retro Sports channel, Retro Sports Network. What else have I been playing? That's pretty much been it. Enjoyed my vacation. Wife got older, got lots of company, had lots of food. It was a good time. So
good.
More in the game stuff, and trying to figure out some stuff what we're going to do in the fall on the channel, because it's July already.
Right, I know.
It's kind of there. So pretty much that's what I've been playing. Oh. And again, thank you so much, all of you, for the 1,000 subs. It means a lot to all of us, because it means that Dave's work and my work and the community's work has been recognized.
Yep, great job. Glad you made it there. All righty, so we get into the topic of the show.
Yeah.
So what spawned this topic?
You want me to? Okay.
Yeah, you go.
Okay. Well, with so many great games out there, and really, we have someone introduces one of us to a game, and we go, ooh, that's interesting. And some of us run out and buy it and show it off on our channels or whatever. And it occurred to me that not everybody is a diehard fan of the sport that they play. Dave is a hockey fan. I am a baseball fan. Al is a boxing fan. ID Jester is a St. Louis Cardinal fan and a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. It goes on and on and on, but yet we all play sports that I would say that we are casual fans on. Dave is not a baseball fan. I really don't watch that much football. Whatever. Al is not a huge hockey fan. None of us, I believe, except for Dave Little, are huge basketball fans. But yet we want to play those games. We do have memories of those games. I covered golf professionally. Some people just want to play golf and be relaxed by doing it, and there's nothing, again, our motto, there's nothing wrong with that. But I thought it would be good to talk about, look, if you are not a diehard fan of any given sport, auto racing, soccer, tennis, horse racing, any of the big four, suggestions, thoughts of what can we do for you out there to get the most out of a sport that you may not necessarily love. You don't dislike it, and in fact, you shouldn't be playing anything that you hate.
Yeah.
Don't want that.
Yeah, you brought up a good point, because I was playing, I think it was the Action PC Golf.
Action PC Golf is what brought it up.
Yeah, I played that this week. I streamed. I forgot to say what I was playing, but I did play. I only played 9 holes. I had 2 or 3 golfers, and I was playing Action PC Golf, and I was spraying the ball all over the place, and it brought back all those memories I had when from about a year ago when I started playing this a lot, and I didn't have fun.
No, and
it wasn't fun.
The paradox with Action PC Golf, and I'm not going to badmouth. I don't know why I'm looking at the camera. I'm not going to badmouth the game. I think it's a double-edged sword. I think it's the best simulator of tournament golf out there.
Mm-hmm.
You can get every field, and I think pretty much every course for the last 40 years. So if you want to do the Jackie Gleason from 1981, well, you got the real field. Go do that. But if you are not into playing 72 holes of tournament golf, or don't have a favorite golfer that you want to do that with and are in love with the game of golf, it's going to get awful frustrating because that game requires a lot of thought and a lot of precision. And even for those of us, I mean, as I said, I covered golf. I love the game enough that someone paid for me to write articles about it, which was fun. But you got to love the sport enough to do that. And if you're just sitting there kicking back and going, okay, I just want to relax for a half hour and take a couple people around, that's not the game for you.
Yeah, I mean, it does have a CPU assist that kind of tells you what to do, and you get pretty close to that depending on the closed engine dice rolls. But I was playing that, and I just wanted to kick back and just play 9 or 18, and I just couldn't get it on the green. I would, I'd be in the rough, and 3 times it would take me to go, what am I doing wrong? I'm looking at what the screen's telling me to do. I did this, and it's just, but like you said, it's not a kick your feet up and just click away type of game. You got to think about everything that goes on in that game, and I'm thinking, something. Maybe it's just not the game for me, or at least that particular night. I just wanted to play some golf. And that game, like I said, it is probably their best sim.
I think it is. I really do think it is.
A sim doesn't make it fun for the casual guy.
I mean, to go to flight simulating for a minute, you can buy a simulated F-747, okay? And you can download the 500-page PDF manual, and you can sit there for a half hour and flip every switch to turn on your power and your engines and go through the whole cycle, because there are people who love it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. That is way too complicated for what I want to do. I want to take off from the runway and go relax for a bit.
Yeah, and we're not saying that Action PC Golf is that complicated.
No.
But still, to put it in perspective,
to go, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? When Dave told me who we took out for golfers and wondered why he couldn't find a fairway, 2 of them were Phil Mickelson and Bryson DeChambeau, which, guess what? They don't find a fairway. They bomb it and are wizards. But to make that particular game work, not the flight sim, but the Action PC, you got to know the course, and you got to know who you're taking out.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
I just grabbed a couple of guys that I've heard of and just wanted, and it's like, wow, this is not going as planned, and I think that's why I picked up Inside the Cup, because I wanted something a little more casual. Now, Inside the Cup is not nearly as complex. You don't nearly have as many decisions as you do in Action PC. In fact, you don't even really aim.
Club, right?
You can't choose the club. You can go left or right a little bit to give it a little bit of play. You can lay up if you want. You can play safe. You can get aggressive on putting. So there's a couple of small decisions to play, but for the most part, you're at the mercy of the dice in that game.
Really is a hybrid hole by hole, shot by shot. You don't really control the shot, but again, there's some visuals in that. But yes, and so that would be a game, a hole by hole game, or kind of a modified shot by shot would be what Dave would want, because it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I think what I liked about what I liked about the Inside the Cup as compared to Action PC Golf, which I have played and enjoyed, is that when I hit it, I took John Daly out and I hit it into the water a couple of times. It was fun. Why it was fun? Because I didn't do it. I just rolled the dice.
Right. Absolutely.
And with Action PC, you're sitting there like, what did I do wrong? And I could never figure out what I did wrong, and I just want to play a casual game.
Yeah.
So I think that was my frustration. It was like, what am I doing wrong here? And inside the cup, you're not doing anything wrong. You're rolling the dice, And like I said, you can play left or right a little bit. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it doesn't. You can get aggressive on a putt sometimes. It's very minimal decision-making, which is fine because I'm just enjoying watching it play out, and I can broadcast it. And sometimes that's what I like to do is sit back and just watch it play out and talk about it. And just, then I can go to bed and think about what happened instead of sitting there making decisions. Yeah. It's nice having those options to make decisions, but sometimes I don't like to do that. And when I'm not having fun, it's because I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. Why am I off the green? Why did it take me 3 chips with a chipping wedge or putting wedge or a chipping whatever, a pitching wedge to get on the damn green? Why did it take me 3 times from 20 feet away from the green to get on the green?
And I don't think anybody wants to play a game and go, did they lose because that's the way that sometimes luck goes, or I played a better team, or did I cause this situation to happen?
Yeah.
And I think in the at ASG Golf to that too, you can hurt a player. You can hurt a player. Again, the golf games are a lot about course management and who you take out. And it's difficult to simulate golf just for that reason, because the course is equal to, or if not more so, the show than the particular golfer. Because everybody can have a bad day. Jack Nicklaus didn't go out there and shoot 5 under par every round.
Right.
He had rounds where, Tiger Woods can have a bad day.
Yep.
And so that was my thought, because we have all these sports options out here now. And how would you necessarily enjoy something that you don't necessarily follow or necessarily understand? We were talking about this with you with basketball games. You were looking at one, but you weren't sure about defenses and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was actually another inside sports game. It was Inside the Paint. Was the basketball game. Because I says, well, if I really like the hockey game, maybe I would like the basketball game. Now, I play PC replay basketball, and I like that because I switch it to computer does everything. I don't do anything in that game. Even though I'm playing the Celtics on the replay, I maybe make a fast break decision every now and then, or maybe I can shoot a 3 if I want. But for the most part, I don't sub. I don't play defense. I just kind of roll the dice and see what the game does. And I can kick, because I don't know anything about that. Like, I have Strat Basketball cards, and I had the PC version, but it don't work anymore. Like Al, and so I don't know what it is with that game. But I have the cards and dice version. In fact, somebody just sent me a really good season for the cards and dice for Strat Basketball. But when I play that, it says, well, the shot is good if the guy is not double teamed. I don't know anything about double teaming. I don't know anything about substitution in basketball. So for me, I need to play a game, probably a PC game, that I can just let the computer handle all that. And I was looking at Inside the Paint, and I think it handles some of the substitutions for you. But the problem is when it get into fouls and different plays, I didn't know or don't know the game of basketball well enough to follow that. Whereas the hockey game, I do. I know what a dump in is. I know what a block shot is. I know what a loose puck is. In basketball, there's a lot of terms and a lot of things that happen in the game. I was trying to follow the basketball directions, and I was like, man, I just don't know the game of basketball well enough. I watch it on TV. The Larry Bird era, I did all that. But, I played my Sega Genesis basketball. But for the life of me, I don't know the ins and outs.
Thing. And again, you can do something for your own enjoyment, but...
And I get that, there's a lot of people with hockey, too, that no matter what the hockey game is, there's people who are new to hockey, and they're like, okay, I'm understanding game X, the hockey game X, but I don't know if on the penalties, what happens if they score a goal if the guy's in the penalty box? What happens if there's 2 penalties? What happens if there's a penalty then another penalty? And that's when, if you don't know the game of hockey, like say, I know the game of hockey. So if you give me a hockey game, I don't have to learn how to play hockey to play your game. I already know that. So when I'm playing your game, if something comes up that's hockey related, I just know it. Whereas if I'm playing a basketball game, not only am I learning your game, But now it's even more
You're trying to
confusing
figure out how the
because
sport works as
I
well,
don't know
right?
how an actual basketball game would work. And that goes the same for sometimes with even with baseball. There's some things in baseball that, playing the infield in or moving the corners or the shift, I don't know a lot about that. I just kind of casually watch it, and I watched it back in the 70s when I was a kid. And so for me, learning a baseball game, it's fun. It's all fun and games until I have to plot the strategy. Am I going to hit and run? Am I going to squeeze a bunt? Am I, like I say, the corner's in, the corner's out. That's when I get lost. Now, hockey, I never get lost because I know it. But some of these other games, that's why I prefer when I play basketball, baseball, or something like that. I like it as automatic as possible. I let the computer handle all these decisions. Because I don't know it that well. And so when people, they ask me for hockey advice, like, hey, I'm playing this hockey game, but I don't know the rules for this. It's not the rules of the game they're having a problem with. It's the rules of hockey. And so I have a problem with the rules or strategy of baseball, basketball, and sometimes even football a little bit. I'll try to play some of the football games. I'm like, man, I'm just getting smoked here.
It's just the way that the game has evolved over the years. It's a different game, with playing second and 10. I can see how many carries and receptions players have, and then kind of do the two-step tango to make sure that that's right. But I don't play defensive football.
Now,
because I know I'm going to get smoked.
I will say, we talk about the play games all the time. They do a terrific job
Yes, they do.
of letting you play a sport that you're not familiar with. For example, racing, red, white, and blue racing. I don't know the first thing about NASCAR racing or F1 racing. I just watch it on TV. I couldn't tell you, if you run out of gas, you got to pit. I get it, But they do all these crazy things, in NASCAR and stuff. I don't know. I don't know the point system. I don't know anything. I just like to watch it. And that red, white, and blue racing game, I played a couple of races there. And the way that they do the games, you do not need to know the first thing about racing. That game holds your hand and just tells you, okay, here's how the lineup's going to go. And then when you're racing, this guy here in this group is going to challenge this guy here from this group. And we look at their ratings, you roll the dice, and he either overtakes him or he doesn't, And you got a couple of other things. You got a couple of battles and things can get heated. So there's a couple little things that happen in the game there. But for the most part, with that particular game, like if I were to play another racing game, I actually might have a hard time playing it because I don't know the racing lingo. I don't know the racing strategy. So again, I'd be learning the game, but
Right.
I would have such a hard time with the game because I don't know the sport.
You'd enjoy Roberto Savini's Daring Racers because you don't need to know anything about racing. You can, if you want to qualify the cars, it's all explained. I don't qualify the cars. It very much is you start on a grid, you roll against a grid, cars move forward, cars move back, cars get in accidents, cars get retired.
Yep.
Because I do like F1 and IndyCar, it's a very good game to visualize. But I would consider myself to be a casual racing fan. I'm not getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch the Bahrain Grand Prix. I can watch the highlights on YouTube later and do it in 8 minutes as opposed to 2 hours. But I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of that, just like you have with the red, white, and blue racing. You don't need to know about wings and carburetors and all that. You're rolling, and after 150, 160 dice rolls, you have a winner, and the game is realistic enough that you know that the winner is right.
Yep.
Lon Whitehead, we had Lon Whitehead on here, the horse racing game. You may not like horse racing enough to buy card sets, but though it's a 6-segment race, and you're building to see how fast the horses go. Again, you don't need to know that his mom, was a champion racehorse and his dad sat there and ate oats all day. No, you sit there, you follow the directions, you follow along with the miniatures if you want and see where they go. That's a good way to kill some time. Do you need to know past performances? No. Does it hurt to know them? Absolutely not if you want to bet them. But again, games like that.
Well, I don't think it's actually the responsibility of the game developer to teach you a sport. So, and we're talking especially cards and dice, because the computer stuff sometimes it's all built in. So with hockey, if you play Strat hockey on the PC and there's a ton of penalties, it does the penalties for you. So you don't even need to know about that. Action PC does the same thing. Inside the crease does it a little bit. That's a little bit more manual than the other ones there. But if you were playing a cards and dice hockey game and you had to sit there and, okay, you got a penalty and a penalty and a penalty, you got to kind of know how hockey would handle that to get through that. Just like in basketball, I still don't know how many fouls you get before you shoot or what error was what. I'm such a casual basketball.
Rules change a lot.
Yeah,
too.
and that's the thing that I just don't know. So for me, if I were to play cards, and like I said, I played the Strat basketball, I have to learn that. I have to learn how many fouls can you have, and when is a foul a shot, and when is it not a shot. So that's why I kind of hesitate when I play some basketball games, because I don't know that stuff. So I will have to go learn the sport well enough to play the game. Right. And it's not on the developer to do that.
No, it's not. And it's not like you're going to sit there and go, oh, okay, and turn on the NBA Finals, which is going on right now. I would say that for hockey, I think the best intro game for hockey is Shootout, because you don't need to know anything.
Well, you will know, maybe the penalties. But again, the penalties are just, two different flips. It's 1 minute and 1 minute, so the penalties end kind of quick. But if you were to get back-to-back penalties, I don't know if sometimes you get a 4 minute penalty, but it tells you what the penalties are in Shootout. Right. It does spell it out. So.
So that would be good for a basic baseball game. Strat Basic Arapa,
yeah,
are good. Basic football game. Good luck.
Yeah, I guess it all depends.
Most people know some football. So,
yeah,
Action PC. You can be really simple with the play calling with it. You don't need to do stunts and blitzes and all that.
I think the Pro Strategy Football is good because you could set that up for easy mode. And easy mode, it really it limits your decisions to just you want to, inside run, outside run, short pass, long pass. I like that. And even on defense, it really simplifies things. And it has an advanced mode that if you want to get a little crazy, you can. Obviously, Solitaire Pro Football, you really can let the game handle everything in that. You still need to know penalties in that game there. But again, that's kind of basic football knowledge.
Yards. And if there's a pass interference call against the defense, it'll say spot.
Right.
And so that would be the difference. Of course, in pro football, it's a spot foul. And in college football, it's only a 15-yard penalty. But then again,
but you got to know that. That's the other thing is you have to know this. Yeah. So when I go to, like I say, I'm still looking. I like like I said, the PC replay basketball. I do like that game. But again, we all like to try different games. We find something to scratch is different. So I'm looking around for a new basketball game, but and I know that Marco's game, the regular season basketball is fun.
And that's fun.
And there's no strategy in that. That's just you're rolling for scores and you're getting your stats, and that's what's fun about that. So that's one cards and dice game that I can play without worrying about the fouling out and the rules and substitution. I do like that game as well. But if I want to play something on the computer there, I was looking, I think it was Hoops PC basketball I was looking at. And
I was looking at that, and you're right. It reminds me a lot of Strat.
It's very Strat-esque because depending on what the role is, you read from the defensive card or the offensive card. But again, I'd like to try the demo out because if I have to start doing the subs manually or coaching a team, I'm lost. I'm just not that big of a basketball guy to go and learn basketball. I just want to kind of play and enjoy. I want to surface enjoy the game. A very casual, basic enjoyment for me with basketball. I don't need.
You want to go back to the era that you liked,
and I just want to enjoy it, and I don't want to have to worry about making mistakes or just what do I do now? And okay, they get 10 fouls. What happens?
Half asleep on a Friday night, listening to Tommy Hines, and lose his mind.
Yeah, I just want to kick back and enjoy it, and so. And in some games, like I say, some games you really do need to know everything. And there's nothing wrong with that because if you're a huge basketball fan, then you love that strategy. Just like in some of my hockey games, I love to try to figure out the strategy. But in the games I don't know as well, I just kind of want to play. In baseball, I want to pitch and hit. That's all I want to do, And when I got to start figuring out what's going to happen here and who am I going to do this, blah, blah, it's just, for me, like I say, the casual guy, I don't want that. I know some people that play basic hockey games. They don't want to get into anything deep because they don't know the game as well.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. Play the casual mode. Play the basic mode.
And there are sports that we're all just kind of casual fans of. You can't possibly know the ins and outs of everything that you need to know for all four professional sports to sit there and play master versions or deep versions of each game. You're going to have an assist someplace, and because the sports have all changed a great deal in our 50 years on this planet, that a basketball game from 1976 is not the same as a basketball game from 2016. For instance, the rules have changed. There wasn't even a 3-point shot in the NBA in 1976. Just for that. And so hockey has changed and all that. So I guess if you're, see something that one of us is playing and you're interested in trying it, you got the Facebook group for us, you got sports simulations and replays, you got the Delphi boards. Ask for specific rules. I know that some people will go out of their way to help you so you can understand, but there's nothing wrong with a basic game. There's nothing wrong with a quick play game. If all you want to do to cure your basketball or hockey itch is just do final score stuff, hey, you played the game. Does it really matter whether you got...
Oh, that's the ultimate. Yeah, that's the ultimate casual game because you can just roll the dice and get final scores or get a quarter by quarter or something like that. I still enjoy the quarter by quarter games. I really do. When I roll the dice and I get the score for the quarter and the whole bit, I enjoy that. I have fun with it because there's no strategy involved. You're just kind of rolling and you're playing and you're having some fun, I really like that.
So, yeah. So, again, there's no wrong way to play, but, don't feel bad because you were not an expert on how hockey worked in 1969-70. Or how football works today, or how football worked in the 60s, because you can't compare it all unless you are. It's all different. It's all different, and it can vary from one year to the next with rule changes and this and that and the other thing, and yeah, because you look at what someone's playing and going, gosh, that would be fun to do, and then you go.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Over my head, where's the enjoyment?
Exactly. You look at it and say, "Well, this looks funny." You watch some videos on it, or you read the rules online, and you're like, "Wow, I don't know enough about this sport to make it fun." Like the bowling thing you said there, I don't know anything about bowling. I haven't touched the bowling ball in probably 45 years, and it's just for me to play a bowling game. I don't know anything about bowling. I would have to learn the rules of bowling before I could play a bowling game. I know Play has a highlight game. I don't know the first thing about highlights. So I mean, but that's a game that
that's about it. Yeah.
But Play would probably make it pretty fun the way that they design their games. Yes. You might not know anything about highlight. It does help to know the game, though. I would imagine to make it more fun. But like you said, when you grab a game, you want to grab a season that because that'll make it much more personal for you. And I guess that goes if we back that up a step. If you want to play a game that you're familiar with, then even better.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
So, yeah, so we were kicking that around this week when I was looking for a basketball game, and he was like, you just don't know basketball well enough, so you're going to be probably limited to what basketball games you would enjoy, and I kind of agreed with that. And then the golf game, too. It's like, at some point, I just want to just play golf. I don't want to have to line up every shot just right and figure it out, and then still think I did it right and find out that I didn't, and then that's even the more frustrating thing.
And that's the frustrating thing with golf is you may have everything planned or where I want to land this on the green. Gust of wind comes up, wind lands down.
Yeah, it just, but you just, there's just so much to figure out in that game there. And again, it's a terrific sim. If you're into golf, it's a terrific sim. But as a casual guy, and I think the other problem is that I don't think you can put on the casual mode if you're playing tournaments and stuff. So that's kind of the bummer about that game is that you have to play it full out if you want to play in a tournament. And it's like, wow, that makes it more difficult for me to play now. And I guess that's the idea behind it. But am I having fun?
Yeah, but there's an enjoyment factor there. How, twice a year you hear about horse racing. You're interested in that horse, you might have heard about something, or the U.S. Open's in town, you want to do some tennis, or, computer, obviously you could have the computer do as much work for you as you want, which is what you did for the PC baseball, the Fred Lynn games. And you got a great deal of fun out of that because you got Lynn to walk off 2 games in a week. But, how much baseball strategy do you need to know for you to enjoy the game? For me, one of the reasons why I like Strat for hockey is that you don't really need to know everything. You know how to make individual decisions, and by that but I don't know what the hell a neutral zone trap is or a 1-2-2. All I know is that some errors are easier to score than others, and some goalies have bad cards, and sometimes your star player spears in the last minute of regulation and you lose in overtime. But again, I don't feel like I need to know everything in hockey to get enjoyment out of it. I'm not obviously a novice to hockey, but it's not my favorite sport. And I don't feel that Dave needs to know proper bullpen management for 1978 to enjoy a baseball game.
Yeah, well, that's what I did when I was playing the PC replay there, I think it was, or even Action PC. I would, who am I going to bring in? I have no clue who I'm bringing in or why. And I would bring somebody in and it's like, oh, well, why are you doing that? He's supposed to start the next game. I don't know. I don't know this stuff. This guy looks cool. I'm going to put him in the pitch. That's how I play the game, And
with cards and dice, you can get away with that because the cards and dice aren't going to play themselves.
Right.
So Dave Gardner is not starting the first in the doubleheader tomorrow. He's pitching for you right now.
And that's why I enjoy when the PC can say, okay, we're going to put in this pitcher. Because the PC is probably not going to pick the guy that I shouldn't pick. So okay, go ahead. Go, you put him in. Let's just play.
Nose picker, the 15th guy in the bullpen.
Sometimes you just want to play. You just want to enjoy a game. And so when the rules of the game, you don't know it can be frustrating. Or if the game itself is more of a sim than it is fun, it can be kind of frustrating. Now, like I said, with the cards and dice, you got a little bit more leeway because you can really make the game yourself. Yeah,
you can do it. If you want to start Mariano Rivera and throw him 9 innings, hey, it's your universe. Yep. You do you.
Yep.
But if you're doing something that's structured like a computer sim, they're not going to let you do that, man. You can't do that.
Who used to say you can't do that? Oh, so anyway, so what are all your thoughts on playing a game that you're just not familiar with, that particular sport? And I guess we're talking sports games here for the most part, and that could be anything. There's probably sports we didn't even mention here today that I'm not that familiar with that there's games for, and it's like, how would like track and field. I wouldn't know anything about playing a track and field game.
Roberto Saviti's stuff just...
Oh, yeah, his stuff is great. The quick play stuff. I had dice racing, too, I think, at one point. That was kind of fun, too. It's just dice rolling, and you set your who's, figure out what order everyone's in, and then you roll the dice accordingly, and they go so far on that roll of the dice, and... sometimes there's a crash, and sometimes there's not. And then I did 10 laps one time with that game, and that was fun.
But the thing with auto racing is the amount of drivers and the amount of laps, and trying to boil that again. Red, white, and blue racing does a great job of boiling it into something that can entertain you while being realistic. And again, you don't need to know what Dale Earnhardt ate for breakfast in 1996 or whatever. You don't need to know that. It's going to tell you that.
Yeah.
Roberto's track and field stuff. You don't need to know who finished 5th in a given race. It's going to tell you who the racers are. If you want to look it up on Wikipedia, that's fine. Look, we all know how sprints work, okay? We don't need to know who the best, you know who Usain Bolt is, or I would hope that you would know who Usain Bolt is. But you don't need to know who the 3rd fastest runner in Jamaica is. That's all done for you. But you know how a 100-meter race works. First one, fastest one wins.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. And so you can get the enjoyment out of that. So, yeah.
Yep. So yeah. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you ever try a sport that you're not that familiar with? What has your success rate been? Have you learned a new sport because of this? Because I know a lot of people talk about the hockey games and they're learning how to play hockey and play this hockey game. And boy, hats off to you. Because hockey's, if you don't know, hockey can be a very difficult game to play. But again, they probably say that about basketball too, and that's why I'm a little foggy about my basketball game. But I do, like I say, I just want to play some '80s Celtics games and just not have to worry about double teaming or subbing or coaching, and because that's just not how I would get enjoyment out of a game. And so yes, we just want to know what you think. Have you tried new games? Have you tried new sports? What has been your your results with that there?
Yeah.
So anyway, so what do you say? Should we wrap up episode 96?
96.
All right, here we go. All right, you've been listening to the Digital to Dice podcast. This has been episode 96, recording this in July of 2021 as we approach our 2-year anniversary of the show, and we squeak up on episode 100 coming up here in a few weeks as well. Ways to get a hold of us. digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE. 978-751-3423 is the Dice line. Send us a text. We may or may not read that on the show. digitaltodice@yahoo.com if you want to send us an email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. Ron, thanks for joining me on 96.
As always.
And give Aunt Becky my love.
I will.